Well, it's great to reconvene. Thank you so much. Happy Monday morning to you.
Thank you. You too.
So let's get into your work. And before we do that, I want to know about 5 years ago with this COVID. How did you get through the pandemic and how much has it reverberated into your life and work today?
Whew. Big question from the
Yes.
beginning. The pandemic was definitely a very interesting time for the world. And for me, I've always had a go, 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 rush, 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 do, do, do lifestyle.
Yeah.
So I really hate to say this because I recognize that globally there was a lot of distress
Yeah.
and I could feel that energy. But for me, there was a significant level of peace that allowed me to enjoy the things that I always felt like were a chore.
Yeah.
So on a day-to-day basis, the cooking, the cleaning, the preparing was all what we did. So I found that the pandemic allowed me to let go of all the noise and start to feel what living was again.
Yeah.
Again, recognizing I was fortunate to not have to worry about food and not have to worry about my rent or my mortgage or my home. Had the fortune of that stability and safety.
So how did it deepen? Well, let's do this first. Let's put you in
Okay.
front of a bunch of grade school kids. It's career day, and I want to get to the heart and soul of what you do on a daily basis. And there's a kid in the back of the room that's like, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How do you answer that child?
Ooh, Joe. Okay, so this is really exciting for you to ask me that question. So I'm working right now. I wrote a book, Transcending Anxiety from Fear to Freedom for adults, and it talks about my framework, my 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 5 steps, 4 bodies, 3 states, 2 desires, 1 truth. And now I'm writing the same thing for children, and it's their meditations and their activities, and they guide to self-awareness. And so what I do is I help us. And children are more connected to it than adults, but I help us reconnect with truth. Truth. And so, what is truth? Truth is that we are beautiful. Truth is that we are worthy. Truth is we are love. Truth is we are free. That's the unconditional three that I talk about when I talk about 5, 4, 3. So truth is I am. Truth is that we're living this amazing human experience and it's unfolding before us, and everything that happens just is. It's not good. It's not bad. It just is. And I help us just remember it's not struggle, it's not suffer, it's not bad, it's not hard. It's just the unfolding of this incredible human experience that has this beautiful taste of a spiritual dimension.
Yeah. So how much of your work deepened because of living through the pandemic? There was a lot of things we had to come to a crossroads with during that time period. How much of that affected the way that you approached work?
Okay, Joe, I'm going to talk to answer that question from a journey.
Sure.
I was always a seeker
Yeah.
from day one.
Yeah.
From day one, I asked why? Why is my life my life? Why is this other person's theirs? Why is somebody starving in Africa? I say starving in Africa because that's what we showed on TV and We Are the World when I was younger. Like,
Yeah.
why is somebody having this famine and somebody else is having feast?
Yeah.
Why am I with my differences? So I've always been a seeker, 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 and I've always been a feeler. I could feel energy and I always thought that everybody did. Then rewind maybe 9 years ago, I had the opportunity to be in a retreat where somebody guided us through living our life experiences. And I saw through that experience that we have imprinted in us our life experiences, and they're imprinted as emotional entrapments, mental thoughts, physical pain. So I'm walking through the 4 bodies. Remember the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1,
Yeah.
and egoic misbeliefs that I'm not good enough, or that I need to be a perfectionist, or I'm not free, I'm controlled. Will never find happiness. I'm looking for love and will never find it. So I found that we have imprinted in us these. So move forward, move forward. I had a divorce that really was a difficult defining time for me to have to disidentify from the human that I am, to recognize that my story doesn't define me, and to recognize that what I had as an ideal of my life and a belief that I was worthy only if I was married, and that I was still a success despite a perception that things were different because of that. Like, so now fast forward, now here's the pandemic. So the pandemic gave me an opportunity to just nest, to have the space to go within, to meditate, to be, to look outside and see nature, to recognize that as humans, again, remember I talked about the feast and famine, and
Yeah.
that feast and famine was happening during the pandemic. There were
Yeah.
some people that were living in fear and did not have toilet paper, Joe, toilet paper. Do you remember? We could
Yeah.
toilet paper. Meanwhile, other people had no worries, and they actually were buying hot tubs and were buying lake homes and beach homes and having this like long-term vacation because they could. So it made me step back and ask again the why, why,
Yeah.
why. And I feel like I've found the why.
Sure. So let's go back to that grade school room. What did you want to be when you were about 12 years old? What was your dream?
My dream, I pause on that one, Joe, because even though I always have clarity with my answers, I never knew what I wanted to be, but I always knew what I was. So
Yeah.
I always knew that I wanted answers. I always knew that I would be an author. I always knew that I was a seeker. I always knew that I was trying to understand. Okay, one of the questions I'd always ask myself was, on my deathbed, what would matter? This was something from a young age that I would say on my deathbed. And this is when I was going through looking for what am I going to study and what was my career. And I said, I'd go to my deathbed and ask what would matter. And what mattered were the relationships. What mattered was the legacy. What mattered, what my children and their children. And so what mattered, I always felt, was the relationships and the loves that I curated. So going back to that answer, I never knew what I wanted to be, but
Yeah.
I knew that none of that really mattered, because what really mattered was love, connection, legacy. That was a strong one. That was not a word I would use, but it's a word that we would all understand. But really, like, what did my life mean? What would people say when I passed that I did to change, impact, influence, inspire, if I can inspire? And so I don't know if I ever even now could tell you what I want to be,
Yeah.
but I know what I want to leave.
Yeah.
Love. I want to leave love, Joe. I want to leave love.
100%. And I'm curious, how did you get to this point where this is your legacy of helping people reduce their stress, find love, find all of these things that will make us more comfortable? What were those seeds planted in you early on that made you you?
Okay. Such big questions, and there's so many different ways that I can approach this. So
Yeah.
I'm going to say what made me you, you. That was the last part of your question. What made me me is a recognition that there's something deeper. Okay, so I'm going to go back to mom and dad.
Yeah.
Dad was the thinker. Dad was the engineer. Dad was there's always logic. Dad was there was a process. So Manal was scientific, mathematics. I did mechanical engineering and looked at everything from an analytic process. 0, 1, root cause. What's the lowest common denominator? So again, when we talk about the human experience, what's the root cause that makes you and me on this podcast? What's the root cause that makes somebody fail or feel like a failure or get a divorce or do whatever they do? What's that root cause? So that's the mental body, which is one of the four bodies. My mom, so much love and so much hope and so much belief in us as our children. And no matter what we did, she was like, I know that you will X, and I believe and I support. And it's almost this like blind, unconditional love isn't the right word, but it was love, but right is a word, but determination
Yeah.
for the life that she wanted for us. It's almost this drive. So you put together my mom's heart, my dad's mind. They were both very spiritual, and had a really strong morality. Yes, they had the religious element and they're very much driven by the religion, but deeper inside was this morality of what is right and what is wrong. And I believe that morality is much stronger than religion because there's a core to your being that you're making sure that is right.
Yeah.
So it's it's all of these and ultimately that's what I believe the human experience is. It's not just us running and goal seeking, it's us hearting and us connecting on a higher level to a higher meaning, to whether you believe in God or its universe or its vibration or whatever it might law of attraction, it doesn't really matter what it is, but it's this higher meaning. So all of these formed the essence of Manal and my desire through Mattain. So Manal means attainment in Arabic. So I put an M in front of the attain. So I got Mattain, which means attain the life that you desire.
Yes.
So all of this sort of formed this deep desire for us to remember, to recalibrate to the truth that the whole reason we're here living as humans is for joy and happiness and love and peace. And everything that happens that keeps us from that is teaching us and calibrating, pushing us back into it. So when we don't have it, we desire it.
Yeah.
So everything negative that happens is a gift because it's helping us say, oh, I'm here for the love. I'm here for the happiness. I'm here for the inner peace. I'm here for the freedom. Did I answer your question? Because I
Absolutely,
know
you
I went
did. No,
everywhere.
no, no, you totally did. So let me ask you this. What was the first client that you had, or the moment where you knew this was going to be your work? This was going to be what you would dedicate your life to. Did you have a moment like that?
Okay, yes and no. I'd say no because I felt like I've always like it's so you know how there's like your 40th birthday, your 30th, your whenever these like they're where people not the level that you die because once you die, everybody glorifies you.
Yeah. Right.
But
Yes.
there's other moments of our life where you have a moment of being glorified
Yeah.
that everybody like focuses on the positive of you and you just sort of like, oh, I really am like I am touching lives. So I would say that during these moments, like people would say, Manal, you said this to me and it changed the way I viewed things and it changed my outlook and it changed like those I even have goosebumps saying it, Joe. There's just so many times that somebody would say to me something that I felt like yes, it is logical and it was really from coming from a place of surrender and my deepest belief in the beauty of God and religion and life and so it is truly aligned, but they would say something that I felt was so simple and like this helped me get through this and gave me the peace and the surrender. So I could say that I had tastes of like connecting with loved ones, friends, acquaintance, colleagues that they would give me, you know, even now, one of my high school, college friends reached out to me and he's like, "Oh, I saw your publication, recent publication on the O magazine." And he's like, "You've always been so spiritual." And I'm like, "What? Where do you get that from? Like, where is that?" So there's always been something that people said that that's been my brand. I sort of lost my thought from there.
So you were just getting into the first client, the moment when you
Ah, yes,
realized,
yes, 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 yes. So one of my favorite, it wasn't a first client, but one of my favorite ones is someone that referred to herself as Sporty Jen. And this is one I was started to change where I was doing it, moving into a more public and sort of putting myself out there, not longer the a professional, but this more going into that spiritual realm and on Insight Timer. But she referred to herself as Sporty Jen.
yeah,
And the reason she referred to herself to as Sporty Jen was because she had a really low self-image, really low body image. And that sporty was there as a reminder that she had a pleasure from showing up people when she could show up on the field and be athletic and be strong and hold herself from this like really strong space. But it wasn't reflective of what her true beliefs of herself is. So
yeah,
she created this fake identity in her mental body, but it did not align with her belief. Her belief was she had poor body image. Her belief that had poor self-image. Her belief was she wasn't good enough. Her belief that she wasn't taking care of her body and such. And so one of the pivotal moments for me was when she really started to embody her recognition that that was just a label for her to change her belief in her identity. And it didn't reside, like there was a very big disconnect for what she actually believed in herself. She started to call herself Jen. She removed the sporty. She was able to acknowledge that she was Jen,
Yeah.
not sporty Jen. She
Yeah.
started to, from ease, lose weight, get off her depression medicine, and start to calibrate truly internally from her unconditional worthiness, love, and freedom. And the journey with her, from watching her go from left to right, from down to up, from restricted and feared and anxious to free and flowing and ease, it has been so internally rewarding because I worked with her for so long, and she just embraced everything and embraced all of the misconceptions that she held. Like, even I was like, one of the things that I play is, if you're resisting being fat, and I intentionally am saying the word fat, then just say, I am fat. I am. And anything you're resisting, if you recognize it, you just say, okay, I own it. You're owning it so you can allow that energy to fall through you, and it actually dissipates you, because your biggest fear is acknowledging that that's what you feel about yourself. When you ultimately say, okay, so what if I am? What if I am bad? What if I am fat? What
Yeah.
if I'm at? And then you realize, oh no, actually I'm not. That I'm wearing a label that I've been so there's this reverse psychology in there,
Yeah.
and it's just so freeing.
Absolutely.
Now, did I answer the
Yeah,
question,
you
Joe? Did
totally
that
did.
come?
That was wonderful. No, that was great. There was so much that went into that. So I'm curious,
Yes.
you're walking into situations where you really have to help people in their lives, and there's heavy things that go into that. But you also have a soul that you need to nurture and take care of.
hmm
Is your goal to find a balance to do the best of both?
Joe, that's sort of easy. Part of the reason people love me, my followers, I hate that word, but it's the word that they use, is because I am so real.
Yeah.
Just because you know truth, just because I can say, I believe that God exists. I believe there's law and attraction. I believe in the universe. I believe there's a mystery. Doesn't mean that you actually feel it. It's not enough to know it. You have to, it's all four bodies. You have to believe it, you have to know it, you have to feel it, you have to be it. So it's know it, trust it, feel it, be it. So even though I can teach this stuff, and even though I understand, and I created frameworks, and I have the 0, 1, and I'm able to say intellectually, theoretically, I'm still a human. And so I'll talk about how, oh, this weekend I felt mom guilt. And well, how did I choose to deal with it? To embody it and to allow it and to love it and to recognize, you know what, Manal, it's time for us to have a different relationship with it. And anytime I feel this guilt, I'm actually going to say, thank you, guilt, for being here, because you're continuing to help me to calibrate internally. And I am good enough for what I do and how I show up. And so I'm human. And I feel, and I don't like to call it pain. I like to call it the unfolding of the human experience. I have it. And I work so hard to feel good.
Yeah.
I work my physical body. I start with yoga. I do my meditations. I take my vitamins and supplements. I go to acupuncture. I get massages. I go on my walks in the Umstead. If I feel bad, I'll do something. So I am not in an ideal to receive to achieve. It's like I feel like sometimes these spiritual teachers feel like they're in this different plane.
Yeah.
We're all in the same plane.
Yeah.
We're all humans. But I definitely will have fun with you, laughing at understanding the dynamics that are getting us to these distorted behaviors, and build the muscles together
Yeah.
to ultimately recalibrate to your unconditional worthiness, love, and your freedom. So it's almost like you go and you might work out with a professional trainer or a voice actor, a voice teacher or an actor, and they may not still be on the stage, but they know exactly what you need to do to get the perfect pitch,
Yeah.
or to sort of emit sadness or whatever you might be acting, or to build the best abs or biceps or triceps, but they might not have that body right now because of where they are in life or whatever it might be, but they still have that knowledge and that skill base. That's sort of where I am, and that's why it's easy. Yes, I
Yeah,
work every
sure.
day to get into alignment.
Absolutely. So, of all of these things that you've done and evolved into and become, and everybody you've helped, what are you ultimately the proudest of?
Whew. I'm the most happy. I'm the most excited. I don't like pride because I feel like that has ego in it.
Yeah,
And so for me, I wouldn't choose that word.
sure.
But and I'm not going to say my children. I love and adore and just honor so much where they are in life and how they're paving their path. I would say that I celebrate myself regularly for my desire to grow and expand. I celebrate myself for my willingness to continue to search within myself to understand, where is this coming from and how do I grow beyond it? I celebrate myself so much for not going in and playing the game of limiting thoughts and limiting beliefs and really continuing to hold really firm. Like even my dad and I, at one time, he's like, okay, but now we have really different philosophies on life, because he's always like preparing for whatever, something that could happen and cause an effect. And he believes that he's reacting to the effect. But I believe that no, I'm the one that can mindset, belief set, what I desire. And everybody calls me sometimes, it's a trigger of mine, toxic positivity. It's not positive. I'm an empowered believer of our life. And so I believe that we create a reality. And I believe that it takes a lot of muscling, particularly with all of the things that are in our reality, to build that muscle, to believe that you can create the life that you desire and to continue to create it despite all of this conditioning that we've picked up.
Yeah.
And so I'm so proud of myself, Joe, and I'll use that word now because it came out so naturally, of I'll use the word I used earlier with my mom, the determination of me to continue to grow and expand and to create the life that I desire and to be a mirror for everybody in the world to realize that it's amazing to be human.
So let's take that a step further. Everyone has a
Okay.
perception of you, family, friends,
Yes.
clients, everyone
Yes.
that knows you, but you run the show. What's your
Yes.
perception of you? Who do you think you are? Ah,
Whoa!
ah,
What's my perception of me? Okay, obviously I have my negative one, like the
yeah.
story that goes on that I'm not good enough and that I should be. And so I have that dialogue that I work muscle every day. And so when the muscle that that my perception and I've been practicing is I am love. I am the embodiment of love. And I, when I nurture and allow that to come out, that this love will sort of attract happiness and love from the other people so that they can bring it from their internal state and their internal being. So my perception of me is that I am love. How's that?
I
I
love it.
am love.
I love it.
Yes.
So let me ask you this. If anyone wants to
Yes.
pick up your book, Transcending Anxiety, they want to reach out, they have any questions, they want to hire you, any of the good business, where's the best place to go?
I would love and welcome. My website is www.mattain.com. And if you do a / join me, there's a lot of goodies on there.
Okay.
And all of the social media, I'm there. If it's Mattain by Manal, Mattain by Manal. So I'm on Facebook and Instagram and on LinkedIn as well as Manal El-Ramly, and on Insight Timer. I love my Insight Timer community. It's Manal/Mattain, Manal-Mattain. So anytime, any combination of Manal and Mattain, you will find me.
Excellent. So final question. If we get off this call and you can get into a time machine and go back in time and see one event in human history, where are you going?
Ooh, wow. Oh, I have so many that are coming to me.
Yeah.
I feel, and a lot that are coming to me are like religious, like
Huh?
significant events.
Sure.
Um, you know, I'm gonna pick. Oh my gosh, there's so many.
I
They're
know.
just sort of flooding.
I
They're
know.
flooding at me. I'm like, all the prophets came to my mind.
Yeah.
Seriously,
Yeah.
all of the prophets came to my mind. Jesus came to mind. Moses came to mind. Prophet Muhammad came to mind. And then Mother Teresa came to mind. Gandhi came to mind. And then a few things that also came to mind are some of these like US stories that you don't know what happened, like
Yeah.
these like murders that you get to see all the time during my thing. Is like, oh, I want to know what happened.
Yes.
What happened to this person? So which one
100%.
do I pick? Oh my gosh, I have to answer this question. I'm gonna pick, oh my gosh, I'm torn between Mother Teresa and Gandhi. And the reason that I pick, can I pick both of them and then I'll pick
Please
one
do.
of them?
Yes.
Mother Teresa, because sometimes I wonder about religion and I say, how can someone be bad having a religion if that's what they grow into?
Yes.
So, if you look at all of the majors, I'm like, okay, if you're born Muslim, if you're born Catholic, if you're born Jews, like into Judaism, that's how you're born. Like, how are you bad? And then I would look at Mother Teresa and say, oh my God, she's just a model of beauty and endless. So it sort of was a normalizer to me to recognizing that we're all human and we're here in the human experience. And I'd want to be with that pure, beautiful love. Gandhi comes to me because I feel like that was somebody that was so internally calibrated and changed the world by his actions.
Yeah.
And that's what I believe. And everything that happens to us, it comes back to I. Stop talking about the narcissist and stop talking about the gaslighter and stop talking about all of these other people because you can't control them.
Yeah.
You can just control you. And so with my teachings and with my followers, I'm like, okay, we're going to keep talking about that, but we got to stop talking about them
Yeah.
because if you don't start talking about why am I attracting the narcissist? Why is being an empath a weakness? It should be your strength. And if you think it's a weakness, it's my superpower. And
Yeah.
so Gandhi to me was this beautiful, I'm going to pick Gandhi, beautiful exhibition of how one person's calibration with their actions towards themselves can change the world. And
Absolutely.
that's what excites me beyond anything. Oh, Joe, I
Oh, yeah.
found the answer.
Awesome. I knew you would. I knew, and that's why I wanted to ask. I figured it would be going out on a very high note. Thank you
Yes.
so much for a wonderful story. All of this great energy you're putting out. I appreciate your time today, and keep spreading the light out there.
Fantastic. You are amazing. Thank you. This was an
Thank you.
incredibly fun interview.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Hello, friends. Joe Dimino here. I just wanted to let you know that after 30 years or so, I have finally released my first book of poetry through the mighty Spartan Press here in Kansas City, Missouri. As the creator and host of both Neon Jazz Radio and the Famous Interviews with Joe Dimino podcast, along with being a visual artist, I'm ready to embark on a new adventure and want you to be a part of it. You can get a copy online via Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and actually on the streets in Kansas City at the great Prospero's bookstore off 39th Street. You can also visit joedimino.com for links to the book, to more poetry, and everything in my world, including paintings. Thanks for all of the love and support over the years, and please dig the words.